Hi, I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Connor.
And I promise this is interesting. Wow, I haven't said those words in a long, long time.
I know, we're finally filming an episode for the first time in a couple of weeks here.
Yeah, we pre-recorded a lot before we were on the road. So
yeah, we were on the road. We were traveling. And now we're officially almost settled.
Yeah. And I want to clear up something right before we get into the episode here. I am not at my best today. I don't know what has happened to me since we landed in South Carolina, but I have been so slow and just sleepwalking through every day. So I'm on my fourth caffeinated beverage today, and we're just going to do our best here.
I think you're doing lovely. You seem to be doing lovely for me.
Just don't judge me if I fall asleep immediately.
But yeah, for anybody keeping track at home, we've gone from Los Angeles to Myrtle Beach, and we did a whole cross-country drive. It was a
long road trip through Flapjack, America.
Yeah.
It was pretty fabulous, but it was also exhausting.
It was an odyssey. But we're happy to be recording again. I'm
very happy to be back.
Absolutely.
Connor, do you have any idea what I'm going to be telling you all about today?
I don't. And I've had so many weeks to try and suss it out, and you've given me nothing.
Okay. Well, Artemis 2 was a recent and successful American lunar flyby, meaning the crew did not actually set foot on the moon, but rather swung around it and back again like a slingshot. It's meant to lay the foundation for future deep space exploration, both to the moon and potentially, eventually, at some point, maybe to Mars. It's the first journey of its kind in over 50 years, so it was a very big deal, and it was all over the internet and all over TV. If you've been at all tapped into media, I'm sure you've seen videos of the astronauts floating around in that tin can.
They love it. They love sending videos back to Earth. I remember when Chris Hadfield was up in the, I think he was up in the ISS for a couple months. He was great. He got me really into watching the astronauts do stuff. It was so funny.
Does anybody love their job more than an astronaut?
I don't think so. I think what's really funny is, I think it was a sketch, but one of the astronauts who came back, it might have been Chris Hadfield, said the thing that's toughest to get like used to again on Earth is remembering that there's gravity. Because whenever they're doing video demonstrations, like, look at this pen, and then they just let go of it and it's still floating there, and then they go do something else and then they come back to it. You know, it's like they keep doing that when they're on the Earth again.
I'd get real used to that in space. I would never adjust back.
Yeah.
So Artemis 2 launched this year on April Fool's Day and returned on April 10th. So they were gone for 9 days. And the 4-person crew returned having analyzed and named some previously unknown geologic features of the moon, and with lots and lots of pretty incredible photographs.
Yeah, the photographs have been wonderful.
Wow, do I like looking at those.
I know.
Few things make me as emotional and full of yearning as Antarctic and space exploration. Those are two of my all-time favorite things. I am deeply affected by the overview effect, which is that feeling of like awe that you get when you're looking at the Earth from very far away.
Yeah.
It's really typically a feeling reserved for astronauts when they're actually in the space station or on the moon and looking at Earth. But I think you can get a taste of it looking at photos from Earth really, really far away. Even from the ground, seeing the Earth appear so small and so blue in the grand vastness of space is a uniquely lonely and awe-inspiring thing. I am also a really big fan of Carl Sagan, who championed the Voyager program and wrote extensively about the grand unknown cosmic attic in which we find ourselves. When he looked at this photo, the pale blue dot photo, which was taken by Voyager 1 space probe, Carl Sagan wrote, quote, "That's here. That's home. That's us. On it, everyone you love, everyone you know, everyone you have ever heard of, every human being who ever was, lived out their lives. The aggregate of our joy and suffering, thousands of confident religions, ideologies, and economic doctrines, every hunter and forager, every hero and coward, every creator and destroyer of civilization, every king and peasant, every young couple in love, every mother and father, hopeful child, inventor and explorer, every teacher of morals, every corrupt politician, every superstar, every supreme leader, every saint and sinner in the history of our species lived there, on a mote of dust suspended in a sunbeam." End quote.
He really had a way with words, huh?
He really knew what he was doing. Fun fact, when I first started on Substack, I named my Substack Pale Blue Dot, because Dot was also my nickname in college for a couple of years, and I'm a big fan of Carl Sagan, so I was like, that'll be really cute and perfect, but I felt like the pressure was too much. I was like, am I going to have to cosplay as like an amateur scientist forever? I can't do that.
Right.
So I changed it to Lonely Pony, because I'm like, I can be a lonely horse.
Yeah.
I can do that. I've also written about space pretty extensively myself. I've written 1 play and 2 screenplays, so I'm minorly obsessed with it. But even I had never heard of the man we will be waxing poetic about today. The very last cosmonaut, Sergei Krikalev.
Oh,
Are you familiar with this name at all?
I'm not. It sounds very Russian.
Sergei Krikalev. Oh, he's the most Russian man you could ever. Well, really, he's the most Soviet man you could ever.
I see. So
let's talk about the beginning. Sergei was born in Leningrad, which used to be called Petrograd, but which is now called St. Petersburg. It is the second largest city in Russia, just behind Moscow. And Sergei is a rather private man, so we don't know that much about his early life, what his favorite cartoon might have been, what he ate for breakfast, how he felt about communism as a young boy. What we do know is that he earned a degree in mechanical engineering, not astronauting, which is not a degree that I think you can pursue. Or everybody would have that. It'd be like philosophy. You know, it's like, if you're not sure, just study astronauting.
I know, it's funny because there's so many different pathways, it seems, to becoming an astronaut. There's an episode I've wanted to do for a long time on this guy named Johnny Kim. And he was in the Marines as a medic, I believe, or the Army as a medic. Then he became a doctor, and then he became an astronaut. And just like all these things led to him being kind of a perfect specimen for the astronaut program for whatever reason. It was, you know, I think the one thing they all have in common is this intense drive to like be the best. You know what I mean?
Very focused, very intense.
Yeah.
And I would say Sergei is very focused and very intense.
Yeah.
I realized at this point that I had never thought about Russian college graduation before.
Oh.
And I was like, graduation ceremonies around the world are probably insanely different.
I guess I've never thought about that. Yeah,
I've never thought about that before. Like, do they all have to wear goofy ass court robes? Because that's what we have to do here. We have to wear cardboard hats and people speak and it's long and kind of dusty and boring.
Right.
And then you march across the stage very stiffly and you shake Ron Howard's hand and then you sit down. And that's the whole thing. And I was like, what do they do in Russia? They probably dance. No, they do very similar things.
Do they?
Yeah. I looked into it. They're also wearing those goofy ass robes. So we're united. We're more similar than we are different, folks.
There is something funny to that, though. I was reading this thing today about this person was talking about their experience of going to the theater, I believe in Thailand or Vietnam. And they're like, yeah, you know, we have to leave because there's about 30 minutes of commercials before, or trailers before the movie. And then, you know, they play the national anthem before the movie as well. And everybody in the comments is like, what do you mean they play the national anthem before they play the movie? What are you talking about?
Well, we play the national anthem before literally every sports game.
We do.
We don't need that. We know where we are.
I know. That's the thing. That's the kind of difference. And that's what the person responded with. Like, you guys play the national anthem before all your hockey and football games. Like, it's the same thing.
Oh, brother. So after he graduated, he started working for NPO Energia, which is one of Russia's principal aerospace manufacturers.
Oh, okay.
And it's still around today, but it is facing potential bankruptcy because space travel is kind of like a loft apartment, infinitely cool and stupidly expensive. While working for Energia, Sergei tested spaceflight equipment, developed space operation methods, and participated in ground control operations. You could say he's very, very smart.
Yes.
Ask me how to do any of those things.
I couldn't even know how to ask you.
I don't even know what do I write down on the paper. I don't even know what to title that note section.
On our journey across America, we stopped to see my buddy in one of the states that we passed through. I'll be very vague. And he works for one of the big aeronautics companies in America.
Right.
And just hearing him try to explain his job, I mean,
I wanted to tell him I'm a lost cause. Yeah. Don't even, you can, I hate being condescended to. Fun fact about me, that will send me to an 11 real quick.
Why?
But for things I truly don't understand, like aerospace engineering, condescend to me because I won't get it otherwise. You can treat me like I'm stupid. Exactly. For things I truly don't understand, talk to me like I'm a kid. Anything else, I will slit you.
But yeah, my buddy who studied aeronautics and aeronautical engineering in college and works for this company, you know, even explaining like the process of putting a satellite into space, it's just like, I'm a filmmaker. I don't have any frame of reference for any of this stuff except for like sci-fi movies. You know what I mean?
Well, and Sergei was very adamant about going to space.
Is that right?
He committed to the astronaut phase, 100%.
Okay.
Did you ever go through an astronaut phase?
I did when I was very young.
That's really cute.
I remember I watched a Discovery Channel thing about it years and years and years ago when I want to say in like 3rd or 4th grade. And I thought, wow, being an astronaut seems like the coolest thing possible. And then I remember seeing a special about how if you get disconnected from the space station when you're on like a spacewalk, you just float in space forever until you run out of oxygen. And I was like, wow, that's a really negative perk of the job.
There are so many nightmarish scenarios that can happen when you're in space.
Yeah.
Everything that could go wrong is a nightmare scenario.
It really is.
You know, and there's such a high likelihood that something will go wrong because it's space.
Right.
There's no gravity, there's no temperature control, there's no protective atmosphere or magnetosphere, nothing.
Right.
You are just out there in the vacuum.
Yeah.
Far away from everything and everyone that you've ever known.
Right. As far away as actually possible.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I knew I could never be an astronaut because I have mediated syncope. And so anytime I'm placed at a certain angle, I faint. And as soon as I saw the angle that the astronauts were placed in, I'm like, well, that's off the table. I can't do that. I can't sit at that angle for 20 minutes. Anywho, now when Sergei Krikalev really began to shine like a star was in 1985.
Okay.
When Salyut 7 went belly up. Let's talk about Salyut 7. Salyut was a Soviet program that ran from 1971 to 1986, and it was responsible for launching the first ever space station and would go on to launch 6 more, so 7 total. They were all largely designed to improve habitability, essentially an early version of the International Space Station.
Oh, okay. Interesting.
Right? So the main job of astronauts inside the ISS, by the way, is to maintain the ISS.
Is that right?
Yes. They are basically swabbing the deck at all hours, and then they conduct experiments on microgravity in whatever time is left over. Plus, they have to work out, I believe, for 2 hours a day to keep their bones and muscles from atrophying. So you're literally just working out, doing science, and cleaning up the place all day long.
It sounds
so.
I'm starting to understand the parallels that we draw with astronauts in like the Navy.
Yeah, I am too.
You know what I mean?
You're mostly swabbing the deck.
Right.
Yeah. Now, in February 1985, after hosting 3 cosmonaut crews, including one that stayed for 237 days, which was a record at the time, the vacant Salyut 7 space station started to experience some issues. Workers in mission control, including Sergei, noted that an overcurrent had tripped a circuit breaker, which shut down the station's primary long-range radio transmitter. I can't even pretend to be an astronaut in a mime show. What do those words mean?
Okay, so hold on. So there is a space station, a Russian space station called Salyut 7 in space.
Yeah.
And Sergei is on the ground kind of running like the Houston program.
He's in Russian mission control.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And God, I mean, it's got to be such a stressful. There's always, like you said, there's always opportunity for something to go catastrophically wrong.
That's exactly what happened here.
You know what I mean?
So Mission Control tried to restart that transmitter, and in doing so, created another electrical overcurrent.
Oh my God!
And the failures just water fell from there. Soon, the radios weren't working at all anymore. Also, because space is so fun and simple, the interior of the station lost heat and became as cold as the vacuum surrounding it, which is about -4 degrees Fahrenheit or -20 degrees Celsius.
Oh my God.
That's rough. So at this point, the station is basically a floating freezer. So they had 2 choices: abandon Salyut 7 or rescue it. What do you think the Soviets did?
I'm going to guess rescue it.
They're not letting it float off into space. It's a space race, babe.
Yeah.
They're not giving up.
Well, you said this is in the 80s, right?
Yeah.
I think if they had picked the former, which was abandoned ship, they would have come back to Earth and then be met very quickly by some men in dark suits and dark Cadillacs.
There's going to be a theme here, and I don't mean any disrespect to our Russian audience here, but there are going to be some decisions that get made purely to save face.
Yeah.
This is listen, the U.S. does it all the time too. Everybody does it. We want to look good.
Exactly. This is the era of the Cold War. And it's very historically, the massive governments of the time, mostly being the U.S. and Russia, were wanting to look as strong and as powerful as possible. And what that means is they have to get rid of things that blemish the record, right? We saw this with like the Russian hockey team during the Olympics. So the Miracle on Ice year,
yes,
right? They kind of got rid of a lot of those players because it's like disgraceful. You've disgraced Russia, like the Soviet Union and that kind of thing. It's like,
that's a lot of weight to put on a hockey player. Oh boy, Russia.
So yeah, I don't think abandoning ship was actually an option.
Right. So they started to put together a rescue mission. Now, the biggest concern of this whole rescue mission was the docking, aka bringing these 2 separate ships together in a sort of cosmic kiss, you could say. At this time, most of the Soviet Union's docking systems were automatic, but that required the electrical systems on both stations to be functional.
Gotcha. So it's 2 separate stations that they're trying to dock together. Gotcha.
The rescue station and then the actual floating space station. They need to dock together. And usually that would be done automatically, but that means that both electrical systems need to be up and operating and online.
Which we're missing.
And that's Salyut 7's whole problem.
Exactly.
So it's going to have to be done manually. So following a few months of vigorous training, the crew, aka 2 guys, launched and headed out to save Salyut 7. Now the cosmonauts arrive and confirm, yeah, the damage is pretty bad. It was not a false negative. Like it's rough out here. Uh-huh. Now they managed to dock successfully, giving hope to bad parallel parkers everywhere. Now they just needed to see if Salyut 7 could actually be salvaged.
Right.
Due to the sub-zero temperature, the 2 cosmonauts had to wear wool hats and winter coats while checking the craft out. We have several photos of this.
Do we really?
Is just absolutely precious to me. It made me a little emotional, I won't lie to you. One of them described it as kolotun, which is a Russian slang term for fucking cold. And if a Russian is saying it's fucking cold, I'm not going up there.
No, not
I'll
at
pass
all.
away.
Not at all.
I won't make it. You can sort of see it in the photos, but everything is frozen or sort of coated in this fine layer of moisture. It looks like an abandoned igloo.
Oh, interesting.
It's very odd looking.
Kind of like hoarfrost on the windows and
Little
stuff like
bit,
that.
yeah, this thin layer of moisture. So despite the uncomfortable working conditions, Vladimir and Victor managed to realign, revitalize, and reheat Salyut 7 in just 10 days.
Wow.
Incredible.
And I'm sure that means like round the clock work. Like they're
pretty consistently. Yeah. Again, you still have to work out. You still have to maintain your ship and Salyut 7. So I don't know how much work they're actually able to do. This is just such a full-time job. It's 20 hours a day.
Right.
It's crazy.
Well, and by the sounds of it, it's the craft that they went up in, the rescue pod or the rescue satellite that is there now. That's like a permanent fixture. That's going to be a new part of like Salyut 7, basically, right? Like they're not going to undock and then go away. So they're essentially expanding the entire thing.
Maybe. I'm actually not sure about that. So just because they finished their mission in 10 days does not mean they got to go home straight away. They had to wait. So they both spent over 100 days in space after this rescue mission before they could head home.
What was the reason?
I'm assuming cost. And I'm assuming like if you're sending up another pod, you have to train more cosmonauts. You have to get them ready. You have to find out who would be a good replacement for who. Right. Who's going to be manning Salyut 7, if anybody. I don't know. Well, bureaucracy, I'm assuming.
Honestly, I think maybe the answer to that question is like what happened initially. The Salyut went down because nobody was really up there to take care of it, right? And like you said, being up there, part of your job is just maintaining the thing.
Yes.
So if you have somebody up there maintaining it, you're less likely to have a problem that goes wrong.
Right. You don't really want space stations to be unmanned.
Yeah.
So, personally, if it's me and I save space, one, I am never paying taxes again. I have a special card that says tax-free. I get a free parking space everywhere I go.
Okay.
That's another card that I want on my car. And I get to dismember one member of Congress every single year for the rest of my life. Those are my conditions.
I know being in space has got to be a rough go of it, especially if you're spending, over like 100 days there, you said?
I'm an overachiever. I finish my job in 10 days. I save the space station.
Right.
And then I'm sitting around for 90 days away from my family, letting my bones rot until you figure out that you're going to come get me. No taxes for me.
Yeah.
That's what I assume. So Salyut 7 remained in space for 6 years after its spectacular rescue, and its orbit did eventually decay, and on February 7th, 1991, it burned up over South America. So it's not there anymore.
Really?
Yeah. Sergei Krikalev helped with all of this. He was a huge integral part of this rescue mission to Salyut 7 while in mission control.
Gotcha.
That same year, 1985, Sergei Krikalev was selected for cosmonaut training. So he was finally going to be a cosmonaut, which was his lifelong dream.
Yeah.
If I got that call, I'm shoving my head in a sheet cake. I'm thrilled.
That would be like teenage Lindsay getting the call that like, yeah, you're going to be a rescue diver for the Coast Guard.
Yeah.
Right.
You get to be a rescue swimmer in Kodiak, Alaska.
Right.
Wow, I'm doing flips. Yeah. So 3 years later, that would be 1988. He was part of a 3-man crew to Mir, which was another Soviet space station, serving as the flight engineer. Now, Mir was very advanced for its time, but it was also a floating fart box. Here's a quote from Discover magazine. Quote, "It was no bigger than a few RVs stacked end to end. Dozens of stowaway microorganisms lurked on board, and Mir had developed the distinct aroma of sweaty men locked in a small house with cognac. The constant racket from fans and pumps and other machinery was enough to cause hearing loss," end quote.
Oh my God.
So it's not comfortable. You're living inside a water heater, it sounds like. Nevertheless, Sergei Krikalev participated in 6 spacewalks, installed a new module, and conducted plenty of scientific experiments during his 5-month trip to the Great Big Black. And this was also when he met his wife.
He met his wife in space?
Yelena Tarakina was an engineer in mission control, and Sergei really liked talking on the radio, even to amateurs. So he just started yapping, and eventually he yapped his way into love. They're still married, by the way.
Are they really?
Yeah.
He's still alive.
Yeah.
That's wonderful.
He still looks good, too.
Does he?
That man has aged beautifully. You know, technically, with how much time he's spent in space, he lives 0.2 seconds in the future.
How does that work?
What are you asking me? Are you asking me to explain the fabric of time?
I can't.
I barely understand radio waves.
We'll just say gravity and we'll move on.
Good heart.
Yeah.
He's aging. He has the face he deserves. We'll say that. So he landed in 1989 from that mission and almost immediately began preparing for another voyage. By this point, space travel had become relatively routine, so a rocket launch was hardly newsworthy. There was a volcanic explosion in Iceland this year. We were preoccupied with Operation Desert Storm. The Giants were beating the Bills. There was a lot of other stuff going on. We weren't watching cosmonauts go up into space, which is kind of crazy to think about, but we just weren't. So in May 1991, Sergei launched back to Mir with two fellow nauts, Anatoly Artsebarsky, a fellow Soviet, and Helen Sharman, the first British person in space.
Oh. Upon
approaching, they experienced electrical problems and their automatic docking system went offline. Does that sound familiar?
It does.
Because it did to Sergei. So Helen Sharman is new in town, and so she's very concerned that they're going to crash into the space station, careen off orbit, and float into the endless void of space, never to be seen again. That would be what I'm thinking. I'm like, it's all over.
Here's the thing. A valid concern.
Yeah. She was like, I was not handling it well.
Yeah.
I was very concerned. But Sergei, cool, calm, collected as ever, was able to take control and successfully manually dock the station. Once again, crisis captain.
Yeah.
Captain of crisis.
That's who you want on board.
Yes.
Again, parallel parking is so hard for so many people.
Can you imagine doing that in space with space stations that cost $1 billion Soviet dollars?
Right, because how many chances do you get to do that? You know what I mean? Like one. Exactly. And how much training do you have in emergency docking procedures realistically?
No. This is a pretty beautiful symbol of what was to come, by the way.
Okay.
So Helen would only remain on board the Mir space station for 8 days. When she was interviewed later on about Sergei and his upcoming plight, she said, quote, "He always said when he got into the space station that he felt like he was going home," end quote.
Wow.
So Sergei and Anatoly are left alone on the space station for 5 months, sciencing it up as per usual. And meanwhile, the Soviet Union is undergoing some construction.
Oh boy, yeah.
So we need to talk about some Soviet stuff. Without delving into the multi-story mega mansion rabbit hole that is Russian political history, the 90s were a pretty pivotal time for that area of the world.
I would say important. Impactful.
Yeah. The Soviet Union was absolutely ginormous and included not only modern-day Russia, but 14 other now independent nations, including Belarus, Latvia, the Ukraine, Armenia, and, most notably for our purposes today, Kazakhstan. The USSR's Cosmodrome is based in Kazakhstan.
Is that right?
And the Cosmodrome is their Cape Canaveral. That's where all of those launches take place.
Interesting.
So it's the largest operational space launch facility in the world, and it's the starting line for Russia's most historic launches, like Sputnik and the flight carrying Yuri Gagarin, who was the first person in space ever.
That's right.
There's no way I'm saying that name properly, by the way. All of these names I'm butchering, and I'm just accepting that.
That's okay. But the important part is like that place is in Kazakhstan.
Yes.
I guess I really didn't think about that.
Isn't that interesting?
Yeah, I forgot that Kazakhstan was a part of the Soviet Union in the past.
I know. So Kazakhstan wanted to be independent, which means Russia would lose control of their spaceport. Problem. As far as why Kazakhstan and all of these other countries wanted to separate from the Union, that's a complicated answer. There are a lot of reasons for that, but the tent poles are economic problems brought on by military overspending, Gorbachev's introduction of democracy that ultimately destabilized the communist system, and the attempted cover-up of the Chernobyl disaster.
That happened in the Ukraine.
Those are three very big things.
Those are three very big things.
And then you add those three very big things to 1,500 tiny things, people are leaving.
Right. That's the thing. With something that large of scale, it's never just one thing and it's never just one time. It's like, it's everything across the entire history of the entire thing that kind of piles up onto each other.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. So I have a potentially hot take, but I think a good idea.
Okay.
I think the United States should be broken up into provinces.
Okay. Give me your pitches for the provinces here.
I need to look at a map.
Okay. That's okay.
I'm just going to pull it up. Yeah, okay. So Pacific Northwest and West Coast. I'm going to include Nevada in that. California, Nevada, Washington, Oregon.
Okay.
I think those people can be a little quad.
Sure.
And then you have the Midwest, which is all the states in the middle that I think people outside of the United States have a hard time naming and placing.
Yes.
You have the Northeast, which I think is simple enough.
Sure.
Right? A lot of the original colonies, I think, can go together.
If you get lobster there, it's a part of the Northeast.
Right?
Yeah.
And then you can have the North that can include Minnesota, Wisconsin, the Dakotas,
Sure.
Montana, Wyoming,
A lot of things on the
Idaho.
Great Lakes. Yeah.
Yes, the Great Lakes region. And then I think you have, the South is tricky, isn't it? Maybe we do Texas on its own.
Okay.
And then you just have the South, which includes Oklahoma to the right.
To the right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everybody else.
That's great. Yeah. Here's my hot take. I think that's a great take.
Thank you.
I think my hot take is that Texas is not the South. And this gets me in trouble at parties a lot.
I'm frustrated by that, especially like I moved around a lot, but I went to high school in Texas and I think I have like the slight twinge of a Texas accent still.
Sure.
And people ask me, are you from the South? And I'll be like, yeah, I'm from Texas. And they'll go, that's not the South. I'm like, it literally cardinally is.
True.
Zip it.
It is the most South you can get in the United States.
Yeah. What do we classify as South? Have you fought for the Confederacy?
That's usually one way to do it. But even then, Virginia and West Virginia are both part of the South to me, and they were on the opposite sides. That's why they split. Part of the reason why they split.
I think if you have a Southern accent, you're in the South.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
How about that?
Well, it gets more complicated because then you get Canadians who have a Southern accent.
No, they have a Canadian accent. Anyway, in August, there was a coup against then President Gorbachev. I'm just going to read exactly what was written in Britannica because I did not know this, and I'm fascinated by this.
Okay.
Quote, Gorbachev was contacted by 4 men requesting an audience. They were his chief of staff, the first deputy chairman of the USSR Defense Council, secretary of the Central Committee of the Communist Party of the Soviet Union, and chief of the Soviet Army's ground forces. They were accompanied by a KGB general who served as chief of security for party personnel. Their unexpected arrival aroused Gorbachev's suspicions, and when he tried to use the phone, it was dead.
Oh.
They had come to demand that Gorbachev sign a document declaring a state of emergency and transferring power to his vice president. But Gorbachev refused and rebuked them as treasonous blackmailers. End quote.
Wow.
That one action completely thwarted this coup. These guys who organized this coup, they did not expect Gorbachev to refuse.
Really?
They expected we're just going to make a demand and he knows that his life is at risk and he'll just fold. And then he didn't. And they were like, what do we do?
Well, now we have to follow through.
We weren't expecting that. So they just locked him in his house.
What?
They didn't kill him. They just locked him in his house. They literally had no backup plan. They're flying by the seat of their pants here.
Okay. Here's the thing.
Isn't that interesting?
I'm not the most well-read when it comes to history, but I assume from the things that I have read, when it comes to coup 101, murder
is usually the thing. Even Gorbachev himself was like, I thought I was going to die.
Yeah.
I was fully prepared to die. And then they locked him in his house instead.
Right.
Fascinating. I'm fascinated by that. I didn't know anything about this. So the press was shut down and tanks rolled through the streets of Moscow, and fights between demonstrators and Soviet troops soon broke out. It was a disaster.
Yeah.
On August 21st, the attempted coup officially flopped, and Gorbachev valiantly returned, but it was not to last.
He broke out of his house.
He was let out of his house, basically. So as far as I understand it, and please correct me if I'm wrong, because I have a very rudimentary understanding of Russian history. So from what I understand, these people who conducted the coup, they were communists, and they expected the Russian people to kind of flood in behind them and be like, yes, bring communism back. But that didn't happen because
Right.
a lot of Russians had accepted democracy or like something closer related to democracy. Mm-hmm. They had adapted to that idea. So it was just a failed coup all the way around. So as the socio-political economical situation grew more tense and desperate, Gorbachev and his cabinet discussed selling the Mir space station, while Sergei and Anatoly are still aboard.
Oh, no.
What exactly would that mean for my friend Sergei? I don't know. Nobody knows what that means.
Yeah. Wow. Oh, yeah, that's so much paperwork. There's so much paperwork involved in that.
Here's the thing. I know how awful bureaucracy is, but if I'm in orbit and there's talk of selling the goddamn tin can that I'm in, I'm cutting that umbilical cord and floating away. Bye. I'm taking it with me. Now sell it.
I would start negotiating with somebody else in space. I would be like, okay, let's switch this frequency over to the Americans, see what I can do there.
I will literally detach and float towards the end of all things before I let you sell the ground underneath my feet. Get lost. The Soviet government sought to appease the people who were demanding independence through basically any means necessary.
Okay.
So the cosmonauts that were originally scheduled to replace Sergei and Anatoly were switched out. Now, the replacement flight would include a cosmonaut from Kazakhstan, which is like giving a starving person a spoonful of sugar, but I guess it's like better than giving them nothing. Like, I don't know why they expected that would make Kazakhstan go, you know what, it's okay here in the Soviet Union.
Yeah.
They're still going to ask for independence, dude. This was a very last minute decision, a political one, not a scientific one. So this Kazakhstani cosmonaut had zero time to prepare. So Sergei, being an experienced flight engineer, was asked to stay abroad a little while longer.
Really?
Yeah. So after 1 week, the Kazakhstani guy and Anatoly went back to Earth as per usual, and Sergei was left behind. There was one other cosmonaut on board, Anatoly's replacement, a Ukrainian man named Alexander Volkov. So now it's the two of them on board the Mir space station.
Okay.
Here's a quote from Sergei during this time. Quote, "I think what we do in space together is a good example of how people need to live on the ground. I know that people sometimes start to argue with no good reason, but especially when you are in a harsh environment, you rely on each other and try to help each other. That is how we live in space, and that probably can be a good example for people on the ground. We try to keep this area protected and keep this good example to politicians and maybe other people in my country and your country, showing that it really is how we need to live." End quote. I thought that was a really beautiful sentiment, considering he's Soviet, he's Russian, and he's on board with this Ukrainian man. Those two, on paper, probably shouldn't be getting along because Ukraine is also demanding independence at this time and still is, by the way.
Yeah.
So, but these two are living on this space station together, and there are photos of them conducting experiments and working out and sharing food together, and it's a really beautiful thing.
I think there are a lot of examples in history of connectivity like that between people who should not be connecting in a moment, which is the one that comes to mind is that really famous soccer game, the Christmas soccer game from World War I.
Yeah.
Where I believe it was the Germans and the English. On Christmas, one of them put up a white flag, and they had just been shooting at each other not even 24 hours before. And they called a truce on Christmas. They all went out into no man's land and played a game of soccer together.
Yeah, and like traded food and cigarettes and sang Auld Lang Syne.
Yeah.
Like it was...
You know,
I don't know, when you're in such a desperate situation like this, you're on board a space station. Why? You don't have any time to argue about politics. Who cares?
Well, no. And of course, this is coming from somebody like Sergei, who at any given moment is reminded of how small everything really is.
He can see the entire Earth through the window.
Right.
You can't see like walls and where one country begins and another country ends. Like it's all one big green brown piece of land floating in a big blue ocean. Exactly.
And that's the thing. It's that thing of like the people who need to see it will never see it.
Yeah.
Right. The politicians who need to see the Earth as just one big thing will never see the Earth as just one big thing. Right?
I have another pitch.
Okay. Give me your pitch.
I think we should put Elon Musk in a space station and just send him out. Just load him up.
Just wave goodbye.
And just turn off the radio. And just let him George Clooney out of here.
What would be the goal of this?
Experiment. I don't know. See how the human body does in deep space. I don't know. So things continued to dissolve on the ground, most of which Sergei would not be privy to. But remember how I said he liked the radio?
Yes, I do.
Well, he befriended an amateur radio operator named Margaret LaQuinto, and during this time, they spoke just about every day, and she would fill him in on the Soviet goings-on.
Oh, really?
She even set up a digital bulletin board that the Mir cosmonauts could use to obtain Western news and information, because Mission Ground Control was pretty tight-lipped about what's going on with Gorbachev and everybody else. So he was staying up to date, despite literally impossible odds. Big shout out to Margaret for doing that. In December, representatives from Belarus, Russia, and Ukraine met and declared that the Soviet Union no longer existed. And on Christmas Day, 1991, Gorbachev announced his resignation of the presidency of the Soviet Union. Less than 30 minutes later, the hammer and sickle flag was lowered from outside the Kremlin for the very last time. Here's a quote. For 6 days, the Soviet Union continued to exist in name only, and at midnight on December 31st, 1991, it was formally dissolved. End quote. And Sergei was still in space. He's a Soviet citizen, and the Soviet Union does not exist anymore.
He's got a Soviet passport. This feels like it's turning into that Tom Hanks movie, Terminal.
He is literally sandwiched between 2 Tom Hanks movies, Apollo 13 and The Terminal.
Yeah.
And he just got the worst deal of both of them. So he literally gets a mission from ground control being like, hey, you're going to have to stay in space for a while because you're a Soviet citizen and the country you're from no longer exists.
Right. And the budget that used to exist to get you back, those books don't exist anymore.
Yeah. And remember that engineer that he fell in love with in Mission Control, Yelena? Well, she's still on the ground with their 9-month-old daughter, and they're facing the dissolution of their country alone.
Oh my God.
Here's a fun little fact. How much do you think a cosmonaut makes? How much is Sergei making while he's stuck in the space station?
A Soviet Union cosmonaut in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to guess, well, God, I'm just going to say like $100 a week.
It's described as a few dollars a month.
A few dollars a month?
That's communism, baby.
Oh my God.
Wow.
That's crazy.
Wow. So his family is facing a coup d'etat, and he's sending home like 7 rubles a month or something pitiful. I'm so upset. That made me so upset. I'm not a capitalist, really. I'm not, but that's worse to me.
Here's the thing. It's not even about the money. It's just about the thing of like, somebody should be taking care of these families. Like, you know what I mean?
Unbelievable. So he's been up there since May.
Right.
It's December now. Space is very hard, especially on your lower extremities, your bones, your head, your muscles. Fluid fluctuates and tends to pool in your face. That's why if you look at astronauts, like when they first arrive in space especially, they'll look a little puffy and bloated. It's because all that fluid is in your face and head. Uncomfortable. We don't really have great information on the long-term effects of this, but I don't think it's great.
No.
Probably.
No, I think I told you this the other day. The most disturbing fact I've read is that when you're in space for a long period of time, eventually the skin on the bottoms of your feet just falls off because you don't use your feet like you do on Earth. And we have pads on our feet because we walk around all the time.
This is why they have to work out every single day, because otherwise their muscles will atrophy and conk out, because the human body is amazing, but it's a little eager to turn off.
Right.
It wants to save energy at any given moment. That's why they tell like people, especially as they age, like don't just sit down and watch the news all day. You have to get up and exercise, move, because if you don't use it, you lose it. That's a saying for a reason.
Exactly.
Especially as you get older, your body's like, oh great, we're not using our teeth anymore. We'll take that calcium and put it somewhere else.
I know.
Like, you want to use those teeth,
I
man.
know. I've been dealing with that problem. That's the thing.
Yes.
A body in motion stays in motion. That is true.
According to other astronauts, peanut butter is the perfect space food since it doesn't crumble and therefore doesn't risk clogging up equipment. It's also really easy to travel with and store. So imagine being the last Soviet person in the known universe. Your wife and daughter are staring up at the sky wondering what's going to happen. And all you can do is run on the treadmill and eat prepackaged packages of peanut butter.
Man,
his mind is a fortress. How is he not breaking down right now?
Because here's my initial thought. Because I don't know all the tertiary and secondary parts of this. He's a Soviet cosmonaut in a Soviet space station, and he's got a limited supply of food. It's not like he can grow plants. I assume they're not growing plants in the space station at this point. Like, how is he going to get resupplied? You know what I mean? That's got to be. There's a limit to how long he actually realistically can be up there. Yeah. Not just for his physical health, but like he will starve to death. He
did say around this time something to the effect of, I started to wonder if I had the strength to stay.
Yeah.
If I was going to be able to return home at any given point.
Yeah.
So he's having those thoughts at this time, which how could you not?
No, absolutely. This is reminiscent to me of that story, The Martian by Andy Weir. Mm-hmm. I read that book a couple of years ago. It's a great book, and it's a wonderful movie starring Matt Damon. But the book handles that really well, which is like the psychological toll that being trapped somewhere by yourself as far away from humanity as possible, what that does to the psychological aspect of a human being. It's like you really do just start to lose it a little bit.
He does have Volkov there, the Ukrainian astronaut. So he is there. He does have companionship, and he is still using the radio. So he is still in communication with people, which is a big saving grace, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Komsomolskaya Pravda, which is a daily newspaper in Russia, reported, quote, "A human race sent its son off to the stars to fulfill a concrete set of tasks. But hardly had he left Earth than it lost interest in those tasks for worldly and completely explicable reasons. And it started to forget about its cosmonaut. It did not even fetch him back at the appointed time, again, for completely worldly reasons," end quote. He also didn't have a valid passport anymore, which is something that I kept seeing pop up in all of the written materials about this situation.
Right.
And I just kept thinking, are we talking about a passport right now? There's no way bureaucracy needs to stretch into space. Leave that cancer on the ground, man. Are we really going to act like we don't know where this guy is from?
That's the thing. Like, when they land, they're not going, see, I need to stamp your passport since you're back.
Who cares?
That's crazy.
Who is asking that question? Shut up. Send that guy into space.
Yeah,
Whoever's like, well, we need a... So Sergei and Alexander Volkov had access to an emergency pod. So they could have jumped in there and flown back to Earth, reunited with their families, and gotten their new passport, I guess. But that would have left the Mir space station unmanned and potentially set space exploration back several years. So they both voted to stay. In early 1992, Russian Mission Control went on strike for better wages, which is very understandable, but also, oh my God. Oh my God. Things keep happening. So, who do you think stepped in right around this time? Turn this situation right around.
Oh, gosh. I'm going to guess America.
USA, baby.
Hey, we're number one at space stuff.
George H.W. Bush, specifically. So with the USSR dead and gone, the Cold War officially ended. Although this feels a little bit like an ex-boyfriend who just puts on a wig and acts like a different person. Like, no, that was Kevin. I'm Schmevin. Totally different guy. Like, it's still Russia.
Different mustache, same cigarettes.
Yeah, but okay. So the new Russian state was really strapped for cash. So the Bush administration funneled U.S. taxpayer dollars into Russian rocketry. Why did we do this, do you think?
I don't know. Could it be to try and appease the new political system? Could it be to build missiles on foreign soil? I'm going to guess that has something to do with oil, maybe?
Well, because for all the problems we had with the USSR, we had even bigger qualms with Iran, India, and North Korea. And they were all, listen, the USSR had some of the most brilliant scientists in the world working at that cosmodrome and in mission control and as cosmonauts. So the US wanted to fly in and be like, look, work with us here. Yeah. We don't want you to go work for North Korea. They're bad. Don't go work for Iran. They're bad. Yeah. Work for us instead.
I see.
So that's why.
Operation Paperclip type of thing.
Political. Yeah. It was sort of the enemy of my enemy is my friend sort of situation. Similar to World War II. Every once in a while, we team up with Russia.
Yeah.
And then we fall apart again.
Well, a lot of the current American military industrial complex, our entire science behind nuclear weapons is because after World War II, we hired a lot of German Nazi Party scientists in America. Like, that's something we don't really talk about, you know? We gave them kind of free reign. So yeah, this happens a lot, I think.
If I were dictator of the United States.
This is a query that Lindsay has once a day.
I say this every day. I'm putting those guys in a pod and we're sending those guys into space too.
With Elon Musk.
We're going to get way more experimental. Yeah. Put the Nazis in a pod with Elon Musk and just fly them into space. They'll get along. Yeah. From what I understand. So with fresh American dollars, Russia finally had the funding to send a new cosmonaut into space and finally replace Sergei. Although I guess instead of being a cosmonaut, they would be an astronaut now.
Right.
It's kind of an outdated term now.
I do like the word cosmonaut.
That is a fantastic word,
It's a great term.
Cosmonaut. I'm a cosmonaut?
Yeah.
I'd wear a t-shirt that said that. That's so sexy. So on March 25th, 1992, Sergei landed in Kazakhstan, a country that did not exist when he launched 311 days prior.
Oh my God, he almost spent an entire year?
Yeah. The field was coated in a light dusting of snow, so he was greeted with broth and blankets and a lot of questions. He was pale and very wobbly-legged, like a more angular Pillsbury doughboy, and 4 men had to help him out of the capsule because he was so weak. But the psychological weight had been lifted, and he was soon reunited with his girls. That was very sweet.
That is very sweet.
He had circled the Earth 5,000 times on this mission alone. He completed nearly 40 hours of spacewalks, and was the very last Soviet citizen on planet Earth. Now, if you are Sergei Krikalev, what would you do upon your return?
Here's the thing. I don't know. I assume go and see my wife and child would be number one.
He did that.
Yeah.
After that, what do you do?
Where am I getting my passport? What country do I now belong to?
Okay, past the bureaucracy, what do you do?
I don't know, buy a lottery ticket.
Immediately begin preparing for your next flight. Exactly. He's going back to space, baby.
How is he not sick of it?
I don't know. This man is built differently. In 1994, he flew on STS-60, the first joint U.S.-Russian space shuttle mission.
Okay.
He also flew on STS-88 Endeavour, which was the first International Space Station assembly mission in late 1998. If you look up the ISS on NASA's website, they have these photos of the scientists that have been on the ISS over, since the course of its inception in 1998. And Sergei Krikalev is in that montage because he was there. He was first.
That's crazy.
He's one of the first people on the ISS.
That's amazing.
I know. So the ISS has been continually manned since 2000. Its presence has led to breakthroughs in Alzheimer's and cancer research, water purification, space botany and agriculture, natural disaster response, satellite deployment, and discoveries regarding the beginning of the universe. No big deal. Sergei Krikalev was there at the beginning. He helped create the station, and I think a lot of the credit for these breakthroughs falls to him. All in all, Sergei completed 6 missions, logging 803 days, 9 hours, and 39 minutes in space, making him one of the most accomplished astronauts in human history.
That's amazing.
Sergei was interviewed by NASA several years ago, and when asked what struck him most while viewing Earth from so many miles up, he said something that echoed Carl Sagan's most core belief. In space, you have no borders. You have only the natural rivers, mountains, beaches, forests, something like that. You start to understand that in many cases, our separation on Earth is more artificial. We are living on the same surface. When you see a forest fire, you see that smoke is going sometimes for hundreds of kilometers. They cross all borders. There's no wall on this border. If you have disaster on one side, it can easily spread to another side. If you have flooding, it floods an area not looking at the border between different regions or different countries. You start to see that we are all more united. End quote. In other words, we are a pale blue dot suspended in a sunbeam. This is us. This is home. This is everything. And that's Sergei Krikalev.
I think that's such a beautiful sentiment, especially, it's so apt to be by him, somebody who went up as a Soviet citizen and then had to deal with the bureaucracy of what is essentially just a fake problem. That is a manufactured fake problem to him. Like, why does it matter?
You must be staring out that window looking at Earth like, what are they talking about?
Right.
What are you talking about?
Don't they know? Like, that's the thing.
Why can't they see what I'm seeing?
Right.
They're not believing me. Yeah, I thought that was pretty incredible.
That was very interesting, Lindsay. Thank you so much for that. That was a beautiful little rabbit hole. I love learning about space stuff. I know you did your episode a long time ago on the Bwote's Void.
Yes.
And that was very cool too.
I love talking about space.
Yeah.
And I was very excited when I learned about Sergei Krikalev because that felt like a really good rabbit hole to go down.
That's wonderful.
He was a lovely person to spend time with.
I can't wait to see some of the photos you've picked out for this episode.
Oh my God. And there's so much footage of him in the space station.
Is that right?
He looks like he was born to do this.
Really?
Like he looks so comfortable and so confident in that space station. I'm like, that's exactly who you want up there, man.
Yeah.
He'll solve all of your problems.
That's fantastic.
Yeah. I see why Yelena fell in love with them too, by the way. That's very obvious.
Do you wish I was a spaceman?
Really, if you just put on the uniform, that's all I need. I don't need you leaving me for 5 months at a time. Just buy it at Halloween Spirit. Spirit Halloween. I'm Lindsay.
And I'm Connor.
And I told you this would be interesting.
And boy, was it. Thank you so much, Lindsay, for this little rabbit hole.
You're more than welcome.
We want to thank our coffee members, especially for their support, their financial support, and moral support when making these episodes. We couldn't do this without you. You'll be seeing a list of their names kind of scrolling past the screen. If you want to join our list of members and be credited in a lot of our episodes, we've got a link on the screen or down below if you want to join our coffee and become part of the community.
Yeah, we upload mini episodes over there every once in a while, if I can entice you a little bit.
Yes.
It's fun over there.
And one of the mini episodes we're going to be uploading very soon is a little vlog that we shot on our road trip across the country. So if you're interested in that, join the community. We'll see what happens. So yes, thank you so much to our coffee members. We really couldn't do this without you. And it means so much that you're willing to like help support us and do this whole thing. It's such a blessing, such a blessing. Also in our description, you will find a link to our suggestion box. If you have a thought or suggestion for an episode that you want us to cover, a rabbit hole that maybe we don't know about that you think, well, that'd be interesting if they covered it on their channel.
Put it in there.
Put it in there.
I love reading that thing.
Yes, we have a lot of submissions that we love going through, but if we get enough, if we see kind of the same submission over and over and over again, like the same thing, we go, okay, let's check that out. You know what I mean? What else am I missing here? Also, thank you for watching this video. If you like this video, hit like. If you want, subscribe. It's free, and you can see more videos like this. We post once a week, every Wednesday. So thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for following. And Lindsay, thank you so much for this little rabbit hole today. She's Lindsay, I'm Connor, and we'll see you next week.
And I'll see you in 2 seconds.